As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud, with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the fire, as it were gleaming metal. Ezekiel 1 verse 4. Have you ever imagined angels as peaceful beings with gentle wings and glowing halos? Well, buckle up, because the real descriptions of angels in the Bible are far from the comforting images we often see. Today, we're diving into the unsettling, yet fascinating world of biblical angels. If you find this intriguing, check out our other videos on celestial beings and don't forget to subscribe to Celestial Chronicles. So, what do you picture when you think of an angel? A beautiful, radiant figure, right? Well, the Bible paints a very different picture. These heavenly beings are described with a level of detail that can be quite shocking. For example, Ezekiel's vision of a stormy wind and a great cloud, with brightness around it and fire flashing forth, is already an intense image. But in the midst of this, there were creatures unlike anything we see in popular culture. These beings had a metallic gleam, adding to their intimidating presence. Why do you think our perception of angels has changed so drastically over time? Could it be that these terrifying forms were meant to convey the immense power and otherworldliness of the divine? Share your thoughts in the chat, and let's delve deeper into the true nature of these celestial beings. Cherubim, more than just baby angels. Let's start with the cherubim. Forget about the cute, chubby-cheeked cherubs you see in Renaissance art. The cherubim described in the Bible are vastly different and far more complex. These beings are often depicted as powerful and awe-inspiring guardians of God's divine throne. Their descriptions in the Bible are detailed and filled with imagery that can be quite unsettling if you really think about it. In Ezekiel's vision, the cherubim are described with 4 faces, one of a human, one of a lion, one of an ox, and one of an eagle. Each face symbolizes different aspects of creation. The human face represents intelligence and reason, the lion face symbolizes strength and majesty, the ox face signifies patience and labor, and the eagle face stands for swiftness and vision. Imagine encountering a creature with such a combination of faces. It's no wonder that these visions were overwhelming for those who witnessed them. And every one had 4 faces. The first face was the face of a cherub, the second face was the face of a man, the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle. Ezekiel godzina 10:14. But the faces aren't the only extraordinary feature of the cherubim. These beings also had 4 wings. 2 of these wings covered their bodies, perhaps signifying humility and reverence, while the other 2 were extended upwards, suggesting readiness and mobility. The wings themselves were described as being full of eyes all around, indicating that the cherubim are ever watchful and aware of everything happening around them. The cherubim's bodies, like their wings, are covered in eyes. This detail can be quite disturbing if you visualize it. Eyes are typically a symbol of knowledge and awareness, and having eyes all over their body suggests that the cherubim possess a profound level of perception and insight. They see all, they know all, and nothing escapes their notice. This all-seeing nature makes them perfect guardians of divine mysteries. To add to their otherworldliness, the cherubim's movements are described as being perfectly synchronized and precise. They moved in any direction without turning, which is a stark contrast to how beings move in our world. This unusual mode of movement emphasizes their supernatural origin and function. These creatures are not bound by the same physical limitations that govern earthly beings. Ezekiel's vision places these cherubim in a scene that is already filled with extraordinary imagery. The cherubim are seen accompanying the chariot of God, also known as the Merkava. This chariot is described as a brilliant and dynamic structure, often interpreted as a divine throne that can move through the heavens. The cherubim are not just passive creatures, they are active participants in the divine presence and glory. The purpose of these terrifying forms can be manifold. On one hand, they are meant to convey the immense power and holiness of God. Their strange and fearsome appearance can be seen as a way to instill awe and reverence in those who behold them. On the other hand, their multifaceted and all-seeing nature suggests that they play a crucial role in the divine order, maintaining the balance and protecting sacred spaces. Given their fearsome description, it's no surprise that encounters with cherubim often left witnesses in a state of awe and fear. In biblical times, visions of such beings were seen as direct encounters with the divine, and the impact of these visions was profound. They reinforced the idea of God's majesty and the sacredness of the divine realm. But how did we get from these powerful, intimidating figures to the adorable cherubs that adorn so many pieces of art today? The transformation of the cherubim's image likely has roots in various cultural and artistic influences over the centuries. During the Renaissance, artists were inspired by classical antiquity and often depicted angels, including cherubim, in a more humanized and approachable form. This was partly to make religious art more relatable to the viewers and partly because the detailed and terrifying descriptions from the Bible were difficult to translate into pleasing artwork. As a result, the awe-inspiring cherubim were softened into the more familiar, innocent cherubs that we see today. These modern representations, while charming, strip away the deeper, more complex understanding of these beings that the biblical texts provide. So, what do you think about this drastic change in the depiction of cherubim? Does it change how you view these beings when you imagine them in their original biblical form? The stark contrast between the biblical description and modern imagery can be quite striking. Feel free to share your thoughts and reactions in the chat. Let's explore together how these powerful and fearsome beings have been transformed over time and what that transformation says about our understanding of the divine. Seraphim, the fiery ones. Now, let's talk about the Seraphim, some of the most awe-inspiring and mysterious beings described in the Bible. The word Seraphim comes from the Hebrew word seraph, which means to burn. These beings are often associated with fire, which symbolizes purity, transformation, and the presence of God. Their name alone gives us a hint about their powerful and intense nature. The most detailed description of Seraphim comes from the prophet Isaiah. In his vision, Isaiah sees the Lord sitting on a high and exalted throne, with the train of his robe filling the temple. Above the throne stand the Seraphim, each with 6 wings, 2 wings cover their faces, 2 wings cover their feet, and with the remaining 2 wings, they fly. Above him were Seraphim, each with 6 wings, with 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. Isaiah 6 verse 2. Covering their faces with 2 wings signifies their reverence and humility before God's glory. Even these magnificent beings, who dwell in the very presence of God, cannot look directly at him. This action speaks volumes about the immense holiness and majesty of God, which is too great for even the Seraphim to behold directly. Covering their feet with 2 wings suggests modesty and respect, acknowledging that they stand on holy ground. The 2 wings used for flying demonstrate their readiness to serve and their ability to move swiftly to carry out God's commands. The Seraphim are not passive observers, they are active participants in God's divine order, always ready to act according to his will. In Isaiah's vision, the Seraphim continuously call out to each other, proclaiming God's holiness. They say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty, the whole earth is full of his glory. This declaration is known as the Trisagion, meaning thrice holy, and it emphasizes the absolute purity and sanctity of God. The repetition of the word holy 3 times underscores the completeness and perfection of God's holiness. As the Seraphim proclaim these words, the sound of their voices causes the doorposts and thresholds of the temple to shake, and the temple is filled with smoke. This powerful imagery conveys the overwhelming presence and majesty of God, which is so intense that it affects the physical surroundings. The smoke filling the temple is reminiscent of the cloud of God's glory that filled the tabernacle and the temple in the Old Testament, signifying his divine presence. Isaiah's reaction to this vision is one of utter humility and repentance. He cries out, Woe to me! I am ruined! For I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty. Isaiah recognizes his own sinfulness and the sinfulness of his people in the light of God's overwhelming holiness. One of the Seraphim then flies to Isaiah with a live coal taken from the altar, touching it to Isaiah's lips and saying, See, this has touched your lips, your guilt is taken away and your sin atoned for. This act of purification with fire signifies the cleansing of Isaiah's sins, preparing him for his prophetic mission. The burning coal represents the transformative power of God's holiness, which purifies and redeems. The Seraphim, with their fiery presence and their role in proclaiming God's holiness, highlight the theme of purification and transformation. They remind us that encountering God's holiness is a powerful and life-changing experience. Their continuous praise of God and their role in Isaiah's purification underscore the importance of worship and repentance in the presence of the divine. The imagery of the Seraphim has inspired various interpretations and representations throughout history. In Christian theology, the Seraphim are often seen as symbols of divine love and the burning passion for God. Their fiery nature represents the consuming love of God that purifies and transforms the faithful. Some scholars also suggest that the Seraphim have possible origins in Egyptian mythology, where winged deities and fiery creatures are common. This connection reflects the rich and diverse cultural influences that have shaped biblical imagery. Despite their awe-inspiring and somewhat fearsome appearance, the Seraphim's role is ultimately one of mercy and purification. They serve as a bridge between the divine and the human, bringing God's cleansing fire to those who seek him. Their presence in the biblical narrative reminds us of the transformative power of God's holiness and the call to live in humble reverence and worship. So, what do you think about these fiery beings? How do the Seraphim change your understanding of angels and their roles? Feel free to share your thoughts and questions in the chat. Let's delve deeper into the fascinating world of these divine messengers and explore the profound significance of their presence in the biblical text. Ophanim, the wheels within wheels. Now, let's dive into one of the most bizarre and intriguing types of angels described in the Bible, the ophanim. These angels are also known as the wheels or the wheels within wheels, and their description is both fascinating and unsettling. The ophanim are often associated with God's chariot throne, indicating their significant role in the divine order. The primary account of the ophanim comes from the prophet Ezekiel, who had a vision by the Kebar River. In this vision, Ezekiel saw a great stormy wind, a huge cloud with flashes of fire, and something like glowing metal in the center. This was just the beginning. Within the scene, Ezekiel witnessed an astonishing sight, for living creatures, later identified as cherubim, and next to them, the ophanim. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all four looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. Asterisk, Ezekiel 1 verses 15 to 16. The wheels Ezekiel saw were not ordinary wheels. They were sparkling, radiant like topaz, and each one looked like it was made of two wheels intersecting one another, allowing them to move in any direction without turning. This intricate design suggests a level of complexity and perfection that goes beyond human engineering. Imagine a wheel that can move forward, backward, sideways, and diagonally, all without changing its orientation. It's a mind-bending concept, reflecting the divine ability to move and act without the constraints of physical limitations. Adding to their otherworldly nature, the wheels were covered in eyes all around. This detail is particularly striking. Eyes are symbols of knowledge, awareness, and vigilance. A wheel covered in eyes suggests that the ophanim are all-seeing, possessing a vast amount of knowledge and the ability to perceive everything in their surroundings. This characteristic makes them not just vehicles of movement, but sentient beings with profound awareness. The ophanim didn't move independently. They were intricately connected to the cherubim, moving in perfect harmony with them. Whenever the cherubim moved, the ophanim moved alongside them. When the cherubim rose from the ground, the ophanim rose too. This synchronization indicates a deep unity and cooperation in the divine realm. The ophanim are not just random beings, they are integral parts of God's chariot throne, symbolizing the divine mobility and omnipresence. The image of the ophanim as wheels within wheels, covered in eyes, has been the subject of various interpretations and artistic representations over the centuries. Some scholars suggest that these wheels represent the cyclical nature of time and eternity, as well as the idea that God's presence and authority extend in all directions. The eyes covering the wheels emphasize the omniscience of God, who sees and knows all things. In Jewish mysticism, particularly in the Kabbalah, the ophanim hold a special place. They are considered one of the highest orders of angels, positioned close to the divine throne. Their role is not just to move the throne but also to participate in the divine wisdom and understanding. The ophanim are seen as bearers of profound secrets and knowledge, reflecting the intricate and mysterious nature of God's creation. Artists throughout history have struggled to depict the ophanim because of their complex and surreal nature. Renaissance paintings, medieval manuscripts, and modern digital art all try to capture the essence of these wheels within wheels. Despite the challenge, these depictions often emphasize the radiant, eye-covered wheels, trying to convey their otherworldly beauty and power. The significance of the ophanim extends beyond their strange appearance. They remind us of the vastness and complexity of the divine realm, which goes far beyond our limited understanding. Their ability to move in all directions without turning challenges our perception of movement and space, suggesting a reality where God's presence is not bound by physical limitations. The ophanim also symbolize the constant motion and activity of the divine realm. God is not static, he is active and dynamic, always moving and working in the world. The ophanim, with their perpetual motion and all-seeing eyes, reflect this divine activity and vigilance. They are a powerful reminder that God is always present, always aware, and always in control. So, what do you think about these fascinating beings? How does the description of the ophanim change your understanding of angels and the divine realm? Share your thoughts and questions in the chat. The ophanim challenge us to expand our perception of the divine, embracing the mystery and wonder of God's creation. Let's continue exploring these celestial beings and their profound significance in the biblical narrative. Malak, the messengers. Let's turn our attention to the Malak, often simply referred to as angels. Unlike the other celestial beings we've discussed, the Malak are generally depicted as messengers of God, playing a crucial role in delivering divine messages to humans. These beings are perhaps the closest to the popular image of angels, but even they are more complex and awe-inspiring in their biblical descriptions than we often realize. The term Malak comes from the Hebrew word meaning messenger. This highlights their primary role, to convey God's messages and execute His will on earth. While their appearance is less terrifying compared to cherubim or seraphim, their presence often brings awe, fear, and profound change to those who encounter them. One of the most famous appearances of a Malak is in the story of Moses and the burning bush. In Exodus 3, Moses encounters a bush that is on fire but not consumed. From within the bush, the angel of the Lord speaks to him. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire it did not burn up. Exodus 3 verse 2. This encounter is both mysterious and awe-inspiring. The burning bush that does not burn up captures Moses' attention, and through this miraculous sign, the angel delivers God's call to Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. This moment marks a turning point in Moses' life and the history of Israel. The angel's role here is pivotal, acting as the divine herald of a monumental mission. Another significant instance is the story of Hagar in Genesis 16. Hagar, Sarai's maidservant, runs away into the wilderness after being mistreated. In her distress, an angel of the Lord finds her by a spring of water. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai," she answered. Genesis 16 verses 7-8. The angel not only addresses Hagar by name, showing compassion and knowledge of her situation, but also delivers a message of hope and promise. He tells her to return to her mistress and prophesies about her son Ishmael, assuring her that God has heard her misery. This encounter emphasizes the role of angels in providing guidance, comfort, and divine promises in times of trouble. Angels also appear during critical moments in the New Testament. In the Gospel of Luke, the angel Gabriel is sent to Mary to announce the birth of Jesus. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Luke 1 verses 26-28. Gabriel's appearance is described with an air of reverence and significance. His message to Mary is one of profound importance, revealing God's plan for the birth of the Messiah. This moment is pivotal not just for Mary, but for the entire Christian faith. The angel's greeting and message reassure Mary and set the stage for the fulfillment of divine prophecy. The Malak are also known for their role in protection and deliverance. In the book of Daniel, we see angels protecting and rescuing the faithful. When Daniel is thrown into the lion's den for praying to God despite the king's decree, he is miraculously unharmed. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight. Daniel 6 verse 22. Here, the angel acts as a divine protector, intervening to save Daniel from what seemed like certain death. This not only demonstrates the power and mercy of God but also the role of angels in safeguarding those who are faithful to him. In the New Testament, we see angels playing similar protective roles. In Acts 12, an angel frees Peter from prison. Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared and a light shone in the cell. He struck Peter on the side and woke him up. "Quick, get up," he said, and the chains fell off Peter's wrists. Acts 12 verse 7. The angel's intervention allows Peter to escape a dire situation, highlighting the divine power at work through these messengers. This rescue reinforces the theme of divine protection and the active role of angels in the lives of believers. Despite their less terrifying appearance, the encounters with Malak often leave a profound impact on those who experience them. Their messages are not merely words, they are divine commands, promises, and revelations that shape the course of history and individual lives. The Malak bring God's presence into the human realm in a tangible and impactful way. While the popular image of angels tends to be serene and comforting, the biblical Malak are dynamic and powerful figures who carry the weight of divine authority. Their role as messengers underscores the importance of communication between the divine and human realms. They are bridges between God and humanity, bringing messages that can be comforting, challenging, or life-changing. Have you ever wondered why the biblical descriptions of angels are so different from their popular depictions? What do you think about the roles these divine messengers play in the biblical narratives? Share your thoughts and questions in the chat. The Malak remind us of the direct and powerful ways in which God communicates with humanity, guiding, protecting, and transforming lives through his messengers. Let's continue exploring these fascinating beings and their significance in the biblical stories. The impact of perception. Why do the images of angels we see today differ so greatly from their descriptions in the Bible? Over time, our perception of angels has shifted dramatically, influenced by cultural, artistic, and theological developments. Let's explore how these changes came about and why they matter. In the Bible, angels are often described in ways that evoke awe and fear. They are powerful, otherworldly beings with complex forms, like the multi-faced cherubim, the fiery Seraphim, and the wheel-covered ophanim. These descriptions emphasize the angels' divine nature and their close proximity to God's holiness, making them figures of both reverence and dread. However, the popular image of angels has softened significantly over the centuries. Today, we often see angels depicted as gentle, serene beings with human-like features and large, feathery wings. These images are comforting and accessible, but they are far removed from the original biblical descriptions. One of the main reasons for this shift is the influence of Renaissance art. During the Renaissance, artists like Michelangelo and Raphael sought to humanize the divine, making religious themes more relatable to everyday people. Their depictions of angels as beautiful, idealized humans with elegant wings became the standard, replacing the more intimidating biblical descriptions. These artistic choices reflected the cultural values of the time, emphasizing beauty, harmony, and humanism. For example, Raphael's famous painting, The Sistine Madonna, includes cherubs that are adorable and childlike, far from the awe-inspiring cherubim of the Bible. These images were designed to evoke a sense of peace and innocence, aligning with the Renaissance ideals of beauty and grace. Another factor in the changing perception of angels is the theological evolution within Christianity. Over time, the Church sought to make religious concepts more accessible to the general populace. This included simplifying the complex and often frightening depictions of angels into more approachable and friendly figures. The Church's aim was to comfort and inspire the faithful, presenting angels as guardians and helpers rather than fearsome beings. The Victorian era further cemented the image of angels as gentle and benevolent. Victorian art and literature often depicted angels as compassionate and tender, guiding and protecting humans with loving care. This era's fascination with innocence and purity influenced how angels were portrayed, emphasizing their role as protectors and moral guides. Cultural influences also played a significant role. As societies changed and new artistic and literary movements emerged, the representation of angels continued to evolve. The Romantic movement, for example, focused on emotion and nature, leading to depictions of angels as ethereal and otherworldly yet still comforting figures. In literature, poets like William Blake explored the spiritual and mystical aspects of angels, blending traditional biblical themes with contemporary sensibilities. In modern times, angels have become a staple in popular culture, appearing in movies, television shows, and books. These depictions often highlight angels as human-like characters with special powers, sometimes even struggling with moral dilemmas or emotions. This humanization of angels makes them more relatable to audiences but further distances them from their biblical roots. Think of popular movies like It's a Wonderful Life, where Clarence, an angel, helps George Bailey realize the value of his life. Clarence is portrayed as a kind, almost quirky character, far from the fearsome and awe-inspiring beings described in the Bible. Similarly, television series like Touched by an Angel feature angels who look and act like ordinary people, delivering messages of hope and redemption in a gentle and understanding manner. While these modern portrayals of angels are heartwarming and inspirational, they often overlook the complexity and majesty of the biblical descriptions. Understanding the original depictions of angels can deepen our appreciation of these beings' roles and significance in religious texts. It challenges us to rethink our perceptions and confront the awe-inspiring nature of the divine. Why does this matter? Recognizing the true nature of biblical angels can enrich our spiritual understanding and our sense of the divine. These powerful beings reflect the majesty and holiness of God, reminding us of the vastness and mystery of the divine realm. Their fearsome and complex forms emphasize the gap between the human and the divine, highlighting the awe and reverence that the sacred deserves. Moreover, understanding the transformation in angelic imagery can help us appreciate the cultural and historical contexts that shape our religious beliefs and practices. It shows how art, culture, and theology interact to influence our perceptions and how these perceptions evolve over time. Have you ever thought about why the true nature of angels has been downplayed in modern depictions? What do you think about the portrayal of angels in popular media versus the biblical accounts? Let's continue this discussion and explore more together. Share your thoughts and reactions in the chat. Exploring the true biblical descriptions of angels challenges us to expand our understanding of these celestial beings. It invites us to see them not just as comforting figures but as powerful, awe-inspiring messengers of the divine. By doing so, we can deepen our appreciation of the rich and complex tapestry of religious narratives and the profound truths they convey. So, next time you see a serene angel in a painting or a movie, remember the cherubim, seraphim, and ophanim. Think about the multifaceted nature of these beings and the deep symbolism they carry. Reflect on how our perceptions have changed and what we can learn by revisiting the original texts. Let's keep exploring the fascinating world of angels and their significance in our spiritual journeys.